ओके।
फेसबुक लिंक 1 मिनट दे रहा हूँ मैं आपको।
हाँ। Welcome all Black Day on Kashmir. Today is 22nd October. We know the historical date in India, in our Bharat. Just we know how 22nd October 1947, Pakistan just created chaos in India, in our Bharat, and how just they have the doing the all unlawful and inhuman things. We are here just for the discussion for the 22nd October as the Black Day. This should be condemned like anything. We have eminent panelists globally from different parts of the world. We are here to discuss the issue why this is a Black Day, 22nd October. We have eminent panelist Lord Rami Ranger from UK. We have Swami Vigyananand, founder of World Hindu Congress, just created the milestone in the world how the Hindus awaken and going to united. We have Alok Lahar, just from the Spain. He is a MD of the News of expert in Spain. We have Robert Mercy, senator in Spanish Parliament. We have Dr. R.P. Bhatt, Indologist from Hamburg. He's already Hamburg University. We have Kuldeep Singh Shekhawat, who is already a social worker, CMD, and associated so many social organizations. We have Ruchi Chauhan Khan. I will tell in the later how you see Ruchi Chauhan and Khan, why and how just she is doing. She has living in Jammu Kashmir. And after 8:30, Mr. Sushil Pandit, JK expert, will join. Now he's live on Times Now. So he requested Rakesh ji, I'll join after 8:30. And we'll have now in between Rakesh Tiwari from Toronto. He will also join. He's the chief editor Hindi Times Group in Toronto. And Vidya Bhushan Dhar, Indo-Kashmir Forum, Indo-Kashmir Canada Forum in Toronto, very active on the social front. He will also later on join. And after that, Mr. Lalit Kumar Jha from the Washington, D.C., he will also join because the is full duty in the White House now. So some credentials ceremony is going on. So he requested Rakesh ji, after half an hour, I'll try to join. And so this is our panel, what we have earlier announced, and just going to, with the introduction of all the guests, I just namaste, namaskar to all our eminent guests. This is now going to be the global just अभिवादन जिसे हम बोलते हैं, हमारा एक कट सी का हो गया है as Trump to Modi ji. Now world is here, all are using namaste. Lord Sahib already told so many times, always prefer to namaste. Robert Sahib, all are just going to adopt the namaste during the COVID days. So my request, our request is, my request to Alok Lahar ji, who initiated the program and very interesting about that. So he'll focus just how and introduce the subject, how this is Black Day, why Black Day, and our youth, our next generation should know about the Black Day, how just Pakistan had done it just inhuman things, inhuman activities in our Bharat. So I just I introduce Alok Lahar ji. He's already from the JNU. So you should not surprise. He's from JNU. He's why he just for the Bharat, for the Hindutva, for the so. Yeah, not in more than 20 years. He has been in Spain, working for the so many organizations, already for the media, also active in media activities, and very socially active. So I request Alok Lahar ji please introduce the subject to just initiate the subject and discussion follow up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rakesh ji. I mean, I was recently reading a book, and I was it's the am
No,
I
no,
hearing
can
my voice in the
no,
back or
no. I'm requesting the monitor to mute
Unmute.
everybody other than speaker.
Yeah, you are right.
Mute
You are
everybody.
right.
I'll request everybody to
Mute his system. Then we can then we can listen.
Live and they have started the discussion on some other platform.
Can I start now?
Probably we might not able to join at this moment, I guess.
All right. So I was
can see the picture.
I was saying that I was reading this book,
And
and at the beginning of that book there was this phrase which was very interesting, which said, history doesn't repeat itself, but there are historians which keep repeating each other.
15 minutes before the time.
yeah,
So now this is very interesting because most of the people, they don't read the pages which are before the preface. I don't consider myself a historian, but
I think with the iPhone one can log in.
I'm a very good student of history. I'm saying that I don't consider myself a historian because of two reasons. First is that I did not major in history, and second, because there is a gang of historians who have been working on a parallel history, which once I understood and I read about what was happening, then suddenly it struck to me that this course of history has to be corrected. Now, the problem which I was facing was that I was always told that the Black Day in the history of Kashmir was different. But after doing some studies, I came to this conclusion that 22nd of October is not only a Black Day in the history of Kashmir, in the history of India, but it's also a Black Day in the history of the humankind. That's my. Now, what happened on this? Unfortunately, since there are commissioned, there are some commissioned historians, so the course correction has to be done. Now, that was the basic idea which moved us to start this global global webinar. Now, lots of people who have read the parallel history, or they have read what has been told, so they need to be told that 22nd of October, by then Kashmir was still not the part of India because the Maharaja had not succeeded to the Union of India or the Republic of India later on. What happened was, in Pakistan, the founding father of Pakistan, he started his work already in advance, and he commissioned two military people, Major General Akbar Khan and Sardar Shaukat Hayat Khan, both of them. They started training what were the tribals, and on 22nd of October, these tribals, they came into Kashmir. They started off with what today is known as the POK, and slowly they reached. And such was the brutality of these people that irrespective of sex, creed, religion, everybody was butchered and massacred. I mean, you have to just think of it. You have to just think of it like, most of the people, they had gathered together in Baramulla, where they thought that they would be safe in a hospital which was run by Christian missionaries. Even there they attacked, and if you see the old pictures, you will see that lots of children, women, people were massacred on the streets as if they were insects. Now, that history has not been told to us. On the contrary, by the time the succession is there, and even in the hospital, even nuns were not spared. I mean, what I'm saying is, it was not something which was anti-Hindu or they were anti-Buddhist. It was also anti-Muslim, and above all, it was against Kashmir and Kashmiriyat. Now that's very important for us. Even in a hospital where nuns are there, nuns were repeated. But we were never told about this history. So this correction is required. Now, once we start on this correction, and the first step has already been taken in August of 2019, I think we should tell the right history to the young people and people who are going to learn, and this co-correction has to be done. That's the basic purpose of this webinar. I think with that, I have kind of, summed it up. But, you have to be really insensible to understand that more than 40,000 people have been killed and nobody knows about this happening. On the contrary, a different type of Black Day has been commissioned. Now, with that note, I would like all the participants to share their views on what I'm saying and correct me if I have been incorrect or add to what I've said.
Saab was also in the show, the former Home Secretary, Government of India. I think he's not visible. He is a former Commissioner of Delhi Police. So just I'm trying to connect him. He was there. So I am sorry for that. When I was introducing someone. So
क्या आप लोग मुझे सुन पा रहे हैं?
yeah. So I am saying the request. I think he was here. He connected and just Alok ji, you can see where Mr. T.R. Kakkar is there. So whatever, just your focus about Alok ji, 22nd October, what happened and how it happened. But I request all the panelists, what was happened that should be remembered for the history. But nowadays, time has been changed now. Last 15th August 2019, 2019. So we'll also discuss in this our discussion how that was and how new is. So that's we have the subjects, the JK and the tribal Paki invasion, new perspective and challenges. So now I request Lord Rami Ranger and focus on this issue, how issue was and how India is going to change a new perspective. Lord Rami Ranger.
Kumar Saab, thank you very much for inviting me to your show. First of all, I'd like to say that the partition of India was illegal, unconstitutional, without any referendum or plebiscite. Couple of people got together and decided the fate of so many millions of people, on a coffee table or something. So the partition of India is not valid as far as I'm concerned, because nobody has the authority to divide countries unless, of course, they have the mandate of the people. So you'll agree that that was illegal. Germany was divided, but Germany kept in the constitution that until we unite, we will keep on struggling. So the fault lies with our own side, that we were too soft, we were too passive, and we were just not tough enough until Modi ji arrived on the scene. We have been a politics of appeasement, where we have appeased people. Now people, as you know the history, the Maharaja acceded to India because the tribesmen came to loot and plunder J&K. They were never given a chance to decide or to have a plebiscite in Kashmir, which side they want to go, whether they want to be independent or they want to be part of India or Pakistan. Before they could decide, an attack took place from the Kabilis, Pashtuns. They came, they looted the people of Kashmir, they raped women, they plundered, and then the Maharaja, in panic, invited India, acceded to India, and the Indian forces went to Kashmir, and they have been there ever since. They, in fact, have saved Kashmir as we see it. Otherwise, Kashmir would have resembled that of Afghanistan by now if you had allowed the religious forces to ethnically cleanse everyone, which they have been doing for a long time. Now, the question is this. The Indian army has been defending the rights of Kashmiris, but they were not given right to live in Kashmir. They were allowed to die, to become injured, to suffer whatever they can suffer, pay supreme sacrifices for a land they had no right or there no permission even to marry a young girl from there or boy from there or to make a house there. So that was the policy of the previous Congress policy. They used Kashmiri as a vote bank politics, and they just damage the country, India, for their own selfish purposes. So now today we have a 370 has gone, 35 is gone. So therefore, Kashmir has now become equal part of India. Now, my take is that Pakistan has destroyed generation after generation of Kashmiris. People who use religion demonstrate that they have no merit, that they believe in smash and grab. They want to use religion to take something which they can't take otherwise. So, what politics Pakistan has started in Kashmir has in fact damaged Kashmiris generation after generation. Kashmir was a paradise. Kashmir was a tourist attraction. There are not many hill stations in India. Kashmir would have been a ideal place for billion Indian to have a holiday homes and pump money into the economy, go and live in the shikaras, make Indian movies, Bollywood films, tourism, hotel development, but that was all stopped thanks to the Congress government because the appeasement policy of the Congress party has led us to the level where they allowed people to run parallel system in a secular and democratic country where equality for all is enshrined in the constitution. Now today we are where we are. Let's now look forward. We know the history has been disaster. We even had four wars, 48, 65, 71, and 99 war with Pakistan. But we always stopped short of a complete victory. I remember in 65, our soldiers were in Lahore. They were at the outskirts of Lahore. We should have stayed there until and unless we had settled situation. We had 90,000 soldiers prisoners in 71. We let them go. Whose fault is that? There's a proverb, lock your door and don't call anyone a thief. All we've done, we kept our door open and we keep condemning other people. So now where we are, we made mistakes. They say we learn from the history so that we can don't repeat the history. Only stupid people repeat the history again and again. Because if you don't learn from the history, history will repeat itself to remind you that don't do it what you did in the past. So where we are now at a juncture where Kashmir has become integral part of India, the government of India should now allocate plots to army or civil servant personnel, allow them to have colonies, schools, hospitals, development at an unparalleled scale so we can, those soldiers who have been fighting as a non-family station are now a family station. They can bring their wife, children, parents, whatever, to be in the country which they are defending on their lives after at the cost of their lives. So that is number one we have to do. Number two, we have to educate the Kashmiris that they are so fortunate. The people are queuing to do business with India, country after country. Yes, if 200 million Muslim feel safe to live in India, why can't 10 million Kashmiri feel safe to live in India? What's wrong with those 200 million Muslim who are living in India and the Bangladeshis are trying to jump over the fence to come to India? 5 million are already in Assam and neighboring states because they must find something attractive in India. So this smash and grab is not going to benefit Kashmir. It might benefit handful of people. As you know, whenever there is a smash and grab, if there's a loot mar, people who will get something, they say अच्छा हुआ लूट मार हुई, but जिनका घर बर्बाद हो जाएगा, they will say it wasn't a good thing. So we have to now educate to Kashmiri people that you are equal, your women are equal. No society can move forward until women are equal in that society. Women empowerment is very, very important. Women are the architect of the next generation. If you keep women backward, you are going to remain backward. So therefore, we have a lot of work to do. We have to do a lot of PR exercise, educate the Kashmiri leaders. Look, You don't use religion card. You can select any leader, you can form any political party, you're free. But stop this cross border terrorism. Cross border terrorism is designed to feed the Pakistani army, because if there's no Kashmir, they have to find one to justify milking Pakistan. Their budget is the biggest in Pakistan, more than the education, health, environment put together. So therefore, they say if horse becomes friendly with grass, what will he eat? If Kashmir becomes peaceful, the Pakistani army will lose its force, the power to use the resources of poor people of Pakistan for their own children. The children are all over the world, in America, Canada, Australia, you name it. They have houses in UK, houses in America, businesses in America. Where the money is coming from? This bulk money has been milked from that country which is now bankrupt, has no money to pay even our debts. So therefore, Kumar Saab, I will say the government, people like you are very influential, because unfortunately, if I was in India, I would have gone from one city to the other city, campaigning that Jagrati, it's time you are now united. You have to now show what a united India can do. The Modi ji type of leader you may not get again, or you may get again, but it's very rare to find a leader who does not promote himself, who promotes the country. So this opportunity is now and never. Everybody in India is equal. Muslims are as equal as Sikhs. Sikhs are as equal as Hindus or anywhere. And all this nonsense of caste system, Dalit, and this should be all kicked out of the window. Those are the relics of past. We have no time to divide humanity. Because of our own practices, we have pushed our people to different faith. Somebody becoming different religion. Why? If your child has gone to look food at to next door neighbor's house, that means you have not looked after children. If our people are going to other people's religion, so that means we are not doing something right. So we have to, all these bigoted people who think they are superior and using religion as a business, we should really be aware of them, and we should make sure. Religion is the most religious people, these guys, the illiterate people, have done the best marketing job of selling religion and dividing humanity. So therefore, religion is a force for good. We should use it to unite India even more. Everybody should feel happy. The nation's biggest strength is her people. Money does not make money. People make money. India cannot grow forward without our people. Today, Mother India has produced children who are not only serving India, but throughout the world, they are paying, they're making a contribution which makes every Indian proud. So therefore, through the panel, I request you that we have to assure the Kashmiri people that they are better off in India. Yes, otherwise the small economy, you have a right to go to Bollywood, you have a right to get the film industry moved to Kashmir, you have right to bring five-star hotels in Kashmir, industry, business, you have a ready-made market, a growing market, economy is growing, India is becoming prosperous, and you have a right to work, live anywhere you want. So therefore, together we become a stronger nation. So dividing ourselves is fraught with danger. Whether we divide on the basis of race, religion, that will only make us weak. So my appeal to all of you is, if you have leaders, allow people to live in Kashmir, build a colonies there. So the army people, my family lives in Pune because the army gave them houses. We have a house, Jalvayu Bihar, near Delhi. My father-in-law was given a plot there. So why not army give plot to those brave soldiers who have defended Kashmir from the those who really
Yes,
want to destroy
you are
Kashmir?
right. You are
That
right.
I will say thank you very much.
So nice, Lord Ravi Ranger. Just you highlighted so many points, including just we are talking about the 22nd October, and just you also highlighted how the Kashmiri people was, how Kashmiri is, and how Kashmiri people will be in the near future how the government of India, Modi government has done, just try to change the complete scenario of Kashmir for the country and for the world. Now we have Robert Massey, and just I think I'll not say Spanish. He's truly India, truly Indian, now in Spain, and just he'll focus and highlight the issue, how's the Black Day and how the changing scenario of Kashmir. Robert Massey. I think unmute Robert have to.
Sorry, I was.
Yeah, just
Oh,
some button.
thank you.
Button
Yeah,
was so nice.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Kumar,
yeah.
Kumar Kesti. Okay, namaskar, everybody. First of all, I thank you to having me in your show today. And it's the first time that I'm sharing this platform with so many, dignities. And I really thanks to you. And hello to all. Namaskar to all. Well, Kashmir issue is. I mean, it's being highlighted all over the world. But I believe that Kashmir it's a bilateral issue and it has to be solved between these
Sorry for
two countries.
Kashmir issue already solved, Robert Saab.
Um,
Kashmir is not an issue now. Already adopted the
yeah,
resolution in the
yeah, yeah,
United
yeah,
Nations also.
yeah,
So that was is what not is now.
yeah,
So we
yes,
have just going the one ahead with
yeah.
all the positive mind like you. We are going to now ahead from that past. That was the past, and not the. Yeah. So please, please, please,
Right,
please.
right, right. Yes, you are very much right. Okay, let's say, I mean, in this case, I agree to Lord Rami in many aspects. First of all, the education. Education is a very important part that we have to educate people, and also we need to ask the Kashmiri people why they are angry or why they are not comfortable, or I mean, what is the problem. We need to go to the roots and we need to find out the roots. And one thing more I would like to add is, we cannot have any progress, we cannot have any other implement any other developments unless there is a peace in the region. So first of all, we need to maintain peace in the region, and I really appreciate the efforts by the current government in India, that there are, for example, that regarding 370 article, and so many people. I have some friends in Kashmir, and when last year this article was taken away, and I got calls from them, and I personally spoke to them, and they told me that they were feeling happy and they were feeling uh, you know uh, free to contribute and contribute in other parts of India in the aspects of education, in the jobs, and they can find jobs there, or other people can come to Kashmir. So it was really a good step. But still, the news are all over, and what we need is we need to find how to maintain peace. And unless these killings and these bomb blasts are not stopped, and we can't have peace in the region. This is which is very important aspect. And yes, we need to the government of India, yes, of course, they need to work a lot in Kashmir, and especially after this say new Kashmir, which is I mean, recently that Union Territory and Ladakh. So what the Indian government will have to do is to do a lot of work in Kashmir. Yes, they need to create more jobs. They need to create give chance to the Kashmiri students to study and go for higher studies, and they need to have they need to get economically strong. So I think this will also change a lot the aspects of the people living in Kashmir. And I don't speak on a particular community or a particular community. I'm speaking about all Kashmiris, no, all Kashmiris and all religions. Any region which is divided by religion will have always have problems. We'll have problem now, we'll have problem from 10 years from now and 100 years from now. So we are totally against the partition on the religion basis, which Mr. uh, Rami said in his in his speech first, that the division which was done in 1947, it was really illegal because there was no public opinion. There was no public opinion on that division, and nobody asked to the people, do they want to go separate or they want to live together? It was decided by a couple of people, and they just divided the country, and millions of people were died just because of these couple of people that they decided to divide the country. And here in Europe, I mean, we all the communities we live together. We have friends. We have Pakistani friends. We have Bangladeshi friends, Punjabis, Sindhi. Everybody, we live together. We don't have any issues. And when you speak to them and they speak to us, and this is not only in Spain, you will see every country in Europe where the South Asian communities live together, and the people on ground level, they always say the same. We are same, we speak the same language, or we have the same culture, and why we are divided, why we are enemies. So this has to be to stop. And yes, Kumara Kesi, as you said, is new Kashmir now. We need to work on that, and we need to carry on the same stream. And the Indian government has a lot of work to do now. I mean, the first step has been taken, and now there is a lot of work to be done, and they need to take the confidence of the Kashmiri people that we are for them. The government is for them. The government is working for them. So when they are confident with the government, I think all the issues or any anguish or everything will be gone. And this is what we want. We want a peaceful world, and especially in the world today. I mean, we are fighting with the coronavirus, and we are fighting with other problems around the world, and we have no time for this type of this type of fights or this type of problems. We don't have time now. We need to progress globally, which we always say that we have to go progress globally, and this is how we can do. If we alone, we can't do anything. So my thoughts are that we need to maintain peace. We need to have a peaceful Kashmir, and the way to have peaceful Kashmir is we need to create possibilities for them. We need to create jobs for them. We need to have them on board with the rest of India, which we now they have many more chances than before, of course, and we need to take them on board. And well, thank you very much. For anybody have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Kumarji, unmute yourself. Unmute. Kumarji, unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Actually, just so thank you, Robert. You have the good speech and wonderful speech about just for the humanity, unity, and the prosperity. Just you have mentioned about the Kashmir, and that is a need of the hour. Just we are thinking on the mode. We are doing. Our government of India also doing so many initiatives, has taken so many initiatives for the new and very good, bold and healthy and peaceful Kashmir. Now, just how the India is developing, how the Kashmir is also the new chapter of the new world. All are welcome to be there, as Robert you have said. Just everybody should be unite. We also request for all the country people from the different part of the globe, come Kashmir, join, and be the part of the development, the movement created by us, the government of India. So now I request Swami Vigyananandji, he's the founder of World Hindu Congress. This is a very new concept in the world. He has traveled globally, always in travel due to COVID. Just here he has been stuck for the 7-8 months and always on show. And he's basically engineer, technocrat turned sannyasi, just for the global humanity, peace, and united the Sanatan Hindu through the globe and just on one chain. So very good. Just two conferences. I also with him in his leadership in 2018 in Chicago, 2014 in Indian Bharat, and just the world. You must know the World Hindu Economic Forum, just already organized by every 2 years by Swamiji initiative. All are coming together just to strengthen the country, globe, economically, culturally, and just on the base of humanity. So I request Swami Vigyananandji just to come on the dais and just address us with the new thoughts about the Black Day and the new initiative for the Kashmir. Thank you. Dhanwad.
Namaste. Namaste to everybody. I will not take much time in the formality. I will go just ahead with the topics. Topic is a Black Day, Remembrance Day, 22nd October. First we have to understand there are 4 villains of this Black Day. First villain is Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Pakistan Army. Second villain is Mountbatten, who is achieving the British imperialistic goal, Sheikh Abdullah and Jawaharlal Nehru. See, the British imperial objective of partition of Bharat has a dimension. First was geostrategic goal. That geostrategic goal of British government was to create a hostile Islamic state of Pakistan at the both sides of Bharat and create a Jammu Kashmir as a Pakistan satellite state in the north of Bharat. For that, to achieve this goal, they appointed Southeast Asia Supreme Allied Commander Lord Mountbatten as a viceroy. Unfortunately, when he was appointed as a viceroy, our Gandhiji and Nehru never opposed him. They know his facts. He is the one, after the defeat of the Japanese, Indonesian declared independence, but finally handed over Indonesian to the Dutch. It took 3-4 years to finally they get them independence. They know everybody facts, but they never opposed Lord Mountbatten appointment as a viceroy by our Gandhiji and Nehru. So third person is a Sheikh Abdullah. Sheikh Abdullah is a communal person, started Muslim conference. Later he changed to the National Conference to just fool our leadership and also ally with the Nehru. That is the whole agenda. And Sheikh Abdullah agenda was wanted a separate Kashmir as independent principality, security provided by the Indian Army and armed forces, and from our treasury, and in return he will give nothing to Bharat. That is his ambition. So this is the background we have. Mountbatten wanted to accelerate the transfer of power. He don't wanted peaceful transformation. Before the cabinet mission, he sent 2 representatives to London with the transfer of power proposal. He wanted provincial government, British should transfer power to provincial government and princely estate and free them from the paramountcy to create chaos and balkanization of Bharat. That was his whole agenda. And related to Kashmir, Mountbatten visited Kashmir and he told Maharaja, you cannot accede to the Pakistan. He told Maharaja, you cannot accede to the Pakistan. Maharaja don't want to go to Pakistan. Therefore, he do not accede to the Bharat that time. Maharaja Kashmir signed a standstill agreement with the Pakistan. That is a well-known fact. In spite of that, 22nd October, Pakistan attacked on Kashmir. They attacked Muzaffarabad and they started looting, plundering. And Maharaja sent message to New Delhi to send the army. But Mountbatten, who was presiding the defense committee, interfered, told, you cannot send your army because Kashmir is independent state. unless you have rights. It took 3 days, 4 days here and there to sign the accession. Finally, Maharaja signed the accession. And then army was sent, and before this, what happened, I am going to tell you what is the Black Day really. When 22nd October, Pakistan attacked, and Muzaffarabad, they started looting, plundering, raping, Therefore, their progress was slow, When this news came to Maharaja, Maharaja sent his brigadier, Rajendra Singh Jamwal, to defend. And he reached in that side, forward to Baramulla on 23rd evening. Rajendra Singh started defending. Whole idea was to stop and slow the advance of the Pakistan army towards Srinagar. And almost 260 to 300 soldiers. He has only 200 to 300 soldiers. Finally, he was able to slow their advance, Brigadier Rajendra Singh. And all his soldiers died in the fighting. Not a single, he himself, he also died fighting, become martyr, And during this period, when they reached Baramulla, these our Pakistani, they started looting, plundering, just like our Laharji was mentioning, looting, plundering, raping, They took 2 days, there. And finally, after capturing, looting, plundering, raping, destroying Baramulla, they were advancing towards Srinagar. By that time, 22nd accession was signed. 27th morning, our army landed first to the airdrop. And the first person to drop in this was our 1st Sikh Army, 1st Sikh Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Diwan Ranjit Rai, He advanced his troop towards Patan. There is a hill area, and he went up to the Baramulla, but he retreated and he settled his defenses in Patan, From there, he defended territory, and he blocked completely Pakistani advance. Finally, when Pakistani advance was blocked, from there, they turned another route. They tried to attack the Balgaon airport. To Balgaon airport, Kumaon regiment was sent under the command of Major Somnath Sharma, and he also defended the airport, and he died fighting. And that is the heroic. You can say these are the 3 big heroic. Rajendra Singh, who died slowing the advance of the Pakistani, then our Colonel Diwan Ranjit Rai, then Major Somnath Sharma. And therefore, we were able to save, and finally came our great General L.P. Bogisen, L.P. Bogisen. He defended Kashmir at Salateng. There is a place in Salateng. From there, he repulsed them. And from there, the movement pushing started. And Pakistani army retreated that side. Then they started attacking Puch Rajouri side. And there also the same story Pakistan created. Finally, it took a lot of time to repulse them, Unfortunately, Nehru again, we were winning. Whole Kashmir was going to be eliminated, cleared by the Pakistani. But unfortunately, on Mountbatten advice, Nehru declared ceasefire and went to declared the United Nations. He declared United Nations. And you know that whole story of that, So that is the situation, and that is the day on 22nd October. 22nd October, more than Hindu, Muslim were killed, in that Baramulla. Hindu, Muslim, as our starting point, our speaker, Laharjit mentioned. Muslim, Christian, Hindu, all were looted, plundered, killed. So therefore, this is really a black day, and we should all remember this. Our future generation should know the history. We should write a proper, correct history, not a big book, a very concise book. There are several books written on this. Concise book for the future generation. And you are all aware, people generally blame Maharaja for all these. He do not acceded to Bharat earlier. You all know that Sheikh Abdullah quit Kashmir movement against Maharaja, quit Kashmir movement against Maharaja, and he was supported by the Congress party and Nehru, and also by Gandhiji, and therefore he was arrested. He was put in jail on the charge of sedition, and there were Nehru and everybody was interfering to release the Sheikh Abdullah. So this is the background of the Kashmir, and we all know that after 5-6 years we have to 1953 we have to put Sheikh Abdullah again in detention without. So he was not a loyal person, he was not a trustworthy person, but our people gambled, and again after that Indira Gandhi did the same gambling, and we are suffering now. Thanks to our Naren Bhai, Article 370 and 35 is removed. Now Kashmir is fully integrated. Kashmir was historically part of Bharat. Our Sarda Peeth is there. The Sankaracharya went and did Shastart there. Without Sarda Peeth Shastart, he will be not accepted as Jagat Guru. Sarda Peeth, our seat of learning, is there. And our Pasuramji Khada, Akhada is also in that part. We have to take back rest of the occupied Kashmir, Gilgit and Baltistan. That is only left with us, the balance part. Rest of the Kashmir is very much integrated, very beautifully. Another person, our a member parliament for Ladakh mentioned the parliament on debating the Article 370. When Article 370 will be removed, only 3 families will lost their employment. That is a Farooq Abdullah, Mufti Abdullah family, and some Hurriyat. Rest Kashmir wanted to removal of 370. You can see, except few area separatists supported by Pakistan, they are only creating, and that is all a very. You can see the terrorism is going down. The overall is peaceful development going on, and things will become very normal. And only part of this, as a remembrance 22nd October, we have to do that. We have to recapture the lost territory, especially the occupied Kashmir and Gilgit and Baltistan. And we have to develop our own part of the Kashmir very much, which is deprived by these 2-3 family. And build the Kashmir. Kashmir become again the crown of our civilization. Namaste. Namaste from my side.
Swamiji, just you have thrown light on the history, but I wanted to something from how the current situation. How do you just think, and how do you visualize, how do you analyze?
No, you see, current situation, very important thing. First of all, government should not have brought this domicile law. Kashmir is like any other part of the country, like any other state, where anybody can go and settle and live, do job, have job. And this should not be done, and it should be fully integrated, and domicile law should not be there. And rest, everything is like normal.
Okay, so nice of you. So now I think we have Ruchi Chauhan Khan, direct live from the Jammu, Srinagar, Jammu Kashmir, and she has been active as a social activist and active more than 25 years in the land of Jammu Kashmir, married to the Muslim guy, and after that she has maintained herself as a Hindu woman. This is a very difficult task if you are married to any Muslim guy, and there are so many stories and history are there, and she has been now still active in the social field, and she has seen both way how the scene was there before 15th August 2019, and now how it is a situation. So I request Ruchi just to throw the light how the situation is now, and how we visualize from the different corners, as Swamiji mentioned, Lord and Robert and Alokji just focused on the point, just how was the Black Day, and with the with related to Black Day now, what is now the golden days of Kashmir. Thank you. Just mute.
Platform.
Yeah.
And I would like to, first of all, I would like to, correct everybody here and everybody, in fact, across the globe, to call, only to name Kashmir. It is not Kashmir. Please join Jammu with it. When we say Kashmir, we are giving power to the separatist. When we say Kashmir, we are giving, we are snatching something away from Jammu people. So we are one, we were one, and we will remain one first. Second is, I mean, we are talking about 22nd of October 1947. We are not mentioning about, I mean, here I would like to mention about 1965, when Kashmir again, tried to, grab the territory, enter the territory, and try to, power take some portion of Pir Panjal range and Haji Pir area. They entered India and tried to, capture the, that area. That was the time, that was a very in fact, a testing time for the Kashmiris. So they have chosen to be with India. We are forgetting that Kashmiris have chosen to be with India. They remained with India, and like the division was on the basis of religion that time in 1947. And after the division, this portion, which was Jammu and Kashmir, was a separate territory. And after the accession, after 47, whatever has happened, it was invaded. And then Maharaja has sought the help of JNK government, government of India, to intervene, and then accession happened. After that, Maharaja has put some conditions with the government of India to give their people a special status, which was 370. And today 370 is no more. Let me inform everybody here that people of Jammu and Kashmir are not happy. Maybe the world is happy, Indians across globe are happy, but the people of Jammu and Kashmir are not happy. I belong to, I am a follower of BJP, but it doesn't mean that BJP, every step took by BJP is, pleasing us. Anyhow, when you take away few things from us, you have to give something, to make us comfortable, which we are not getting. We are not having ample employment facilities. Our youth is not properly
sorry for
integrated. We are
intervening.
not.
And whatever you said, everybody is happy or
Yeah,
not
yeah.
happy. This is no any parameters for the measure the happiness in the globe. Number one. Number two, this is not matter of the BJP and any part. Just my question is how situation has been changed. Just to you, how situation has been changed. What was the history? How the Lord said and Swamiji said. Just said about the view. What the situation was in the Black Day in the Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Christian, all were killed. Not only Hindu killed. So this is a matter of the new way of the development.
Yeah.
Whatever expectation is no limit. Happiness is no measurement. So
Okay.
we need just to focus on the point what had been done and what should be done as a just inhabitant, just as a resident of Jammu Kashmir, according to you, not the Kashmir.
I am unable to, your voice is not very audible, so I could not hear you properly. You want me to speak only on this issue? I mean, the
In,
invasion
in,
and
in,
the Black Day
Invasion
and
and change is
the
both.
change in the scenario and
Because
the
just
challenges. I was
because just
focusing
from
on
the
the
studio, this is
challenges.
going to be live. We have
Yeah,
only 25 minutes only.
I know.
So we have three more. If we have three
Okay,
more,
okay. So,
actually, the guests are here, so we can just accordingly. We have to also listen him, and you are also important for us. Yeah.
I understand. I beg your pardon, and I apologize if I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
gone out of the context. But this was, I thought this is the, a point to be highlighted. Anyhow, now after so much of, after so many, what we call, much water has flown down
That's
the
okay.
river
Agreed.
Jhelum. So
Agreed.
this is,
Agreed. 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 Because we have
what
shortage
I'm
of time
trying
also.
to.
The issue is
Yeah,
not issue. It's
the
small issue.
I think all the political parties who have been ruled the JNK have
That's the
not
point.
served us properly. Right from, I mean, there was a family feud and Abdullahs and Muftis, everybody. But Jammu and Kashmir is looking for integration. We are looking for employment. We are looking for latest technology. So yes, we are getting so much from the present government, but there is much more need to integrate the
Yeah.
youth, because
Agreed.
I'm a
Agreed.
social
Agreed.
activist and
Agreed.
an
Agreed.
entrepreneur which is into training, so I'm connected with youth also. So I think in the present scenario, the challenges which JNK is facing is.
What happened? Something technical problem.
Something has went wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Some tech
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. I thought you have, yeah. So, what I was saying, we need foreign investments. This is my request to everybody, whosoever is there, on this platform. We need latest technology. We need our youth to be integrated. We need employment. So the present challenges are this, and the Cold War, which is going on between India and Pakistan, especially in the territory of Kashmir in per se. There are 4 districts which are facing this Cold War vis-a-vis Pakistan, and rest of the Kashmir is absolutely peaceful. And I think we should, engage our youth in constructive activities to, to integrate them. It can help us to a great deal. And with the present government, our Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Sinha, he is doing a great job presently, and he is meeting people, which was not, in our.
Something technical problem. Okay.
No, I'll add to what Ruchiji was saying.
Okay.
She said that when we talk about Kashmir, we are just talking about
I think
Kashmir only and not
lost the
Jammu. I
connection.
agree with her.
Lost the connection actually.
Yeah.
So no, no, your voice is
Yeah.
Alok ji clear. And now we have Rakesh Tiwari ji, Dr. R.P. Bhatt ji, and Sushil Pandit ji. So nice. Just he was waiting outside due to technical problems. So now, so nice of you. You are here. Just he already conveyed me. After half an hour, he was in Times Now live. So there is no introduction for Sushil Pandit ji, and he'll give the now very clear picture about the present scenario and the Black Day. So I request Sushil Pandit ji, please throw the light on the subject as well as the current situation and the in Jammu Kashmir. Welcome.
Thank you, Rakesh ji. Namaskar to all. Grateful for this opportunity. Thank you for inviting me. There is a very little exposure to the facts of 22nd of October 1947 across the country. Some of these facts are so startling that it could turn the entire perception about what happened during these days on its head. For example, how would you react if I were to say that the plan for invasion of Jammu and Kashmir was ready and worked out even before India and Pakistan came into existence post 15th of August? How would you react that it was the British government, right from the Viceroy downwards, who had meticulously planned this invasion? Because after the June visit of the Viceroy to Jammu Kashmir and his conversations with Maharaja Hari Singh led him to believe that Maharaja was not keen on accession to Pakistan. And therefore, this plan was set into motion. I don't know how many of you know that Maharaja was told by the Viceroy, Lord Mountbatten, that if he chooses to accede to Pakistan, the leadership in India and the government of India, the incoming government of India, will not mind it or take it otherwise. So he was very clearly nudging the Maharaja to consider going to Pakistan. And when he found that Maharaja was not very enthusiastic to his suggestion and to his persuasion, he came back and informed General Auchinleck, who was the combined chief of the British Indian Army, and then a plan was set in motion. This was revealed by a gentleman who was the brigade major stationed at Bannu, which is in Northwest Frontier Province, and his name was Major Omkar Singh Kalkat. He was standing in for his boss, Brigadier Murray, when a top secret personal letter came to his office addressed to Brigadier Murray, and with Murray's permission and authority, he opened that letter. This letter was from Commander-in-Chief of the Pakistan Army, General Messervy. The date is August 20. And this letter had a detailed plan of invasion, which was supposed to start on 22nd of October. Kindly remember the dates. This letter arrives in Bannu in the hands of Major Omkar Singh Kalkat on August 20. And a detailed plan is already worked out with instructions to what must happen at Bannu and what must Brigadier Murray do. This plan was in the knowledge of Lord Mountbatten, who was not only the last Viceroy, but also the first Governor General of India and also the Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army, independent India's first Commander-in-Chief of the independent India's army. It was also of General Auchinleck, the combined chief overseeing both this. Butcher, who was chief of the Indian Army, and General Messervy, whose letter this was intercepted by Major Omkar Singh Kalkat. After great difficulty, Omkar Singh Kalkat reaches Delhi. He was put under almost a house arrest and surveillance because the Pakistan army officers knew that he had read this letter, and there was no way they could allow this man to reach India and alert Indian system. He to flee, somehow reached Delhi. On August 20th, he meets the DMO, Director Military Operations, acting Director Military Operations, Colonel Thapar, who eventually became Chief of the Indian Army, General Thapar, General P.N. Thapar, during 1962 Indochina War. The same Colonel Thapar, who was acting DMO, and the Defense Minister, Sardar Baldev Singh. Both of them dismissed his debrief that the Pakistan army is about to invade. They just did not believe him. And when the invasion did take place, and Jawaharlal Nehru was told that they had a prior information, he was livid. But it was already too late. Now, I am not making this up. There is a publication, a book published by Ministry of Defense, Government of India. The title of this book is Jammu Kashmir Operations. This book was ready to be published in 1965. But Government of India and Ministry of Defense sat on it, delayed it, and it was finally published in 1987. It is an official publication of Government of India under Ministry of Defense. And it gives you the detailed account of how the entire invasion, called Operation Gulmarg, was planned and executed months before it was rolled out on 22nd of October. I'm sorry to say that this publication of Government of India is hardly referred in any conversations. None of our politicians seem to have read it. Even some of the 2- and 3-star generals of Indian Army have not supposed to have read it. Nobody refers to it. Nobody quotes from it. It is lying buried in some of the libraries and attics of Indian Army. It tells you how Major General Akbar Khan, who was overall in charge of Operation Gulmarg, executed it. In fact, Major General Akbar actually wrote a book about how Kashmir invasion was done. So it is not a secret. But we do not have a tradition of, or at least the habit of, revisiting history and historical facts. That is why we are condemned to committing and repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And we do not understand the enemy. We do not understand its tactics. Pakistan was signatory to standstill agreement with Maharaja Hari Singh of Jammu and Kashmir. Under the standstill agreement, it was supposed to maintain a status quo. India did not sign a standstill agreement with Pakistan. This is on record. And the reason is because Nehru just did not want to deal with with Maharaja Hari Singh. He kept insisting that he would deal with him only if Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah was appointed the Prime Minister of Kashmir and sent as his emissary. Sheikh Abdullah was in prison on the charges of treason. It was humiliating Maharaja. But such humiliation was heaped on him, which is why Jammu and Kashmir was a pending case on the issue of accession. a lot of propaganda and canard is spread that Maharaja had ambitions to be independent. Rubbish. Maharaja was keen, but Delhi did not engage with him. Maharaja sent his prime minister. Prime minister waited here for 3 days. But Nehru could not find time to meet him. He chose to humiliate him. Because Prime Minister of Jammu and Kashmir at that time was not Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah. He wanted Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah to come as emissary of Maharaja, which was not possible. Then Pakistan and Britishers fomented communal riots in Kashmir. Since Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah was a popular leader, on 20th of September, he released him from the prison so that he could intervene and stop the communal riots in Kashmir Valley. But with his release, the communal riots became more severe. Disturbances grew. And on the other hand, Maharaja's state forces were spread thin by tribal raids across the border. Before the invasion started, from the month of August itself, bands of lushers of irregulars from the Rawalpindi, from the area of Sialkot, started attacking the borders of Jammu and Kashmir, looting the hapless, innocent civilians, started conducting raids. And in order to stop those raids, because Jammu Kashmir had a long border with Pakistan, the state forces were spread very thin into small bands who were waging a defensive battle against these raids. There are several telegrams addressed to Liaquat Ali Khan, even to Jinnah from the Prime Minister of Jammu and Kashmir to stop these raids, but of no avail. The assurance of maintaining the status quo was also violated. Jammu and Kashmir depended for its essential supplies on Pakistan, for petrol, for kerosene, for rice, for wheat, for even salt. The supply routes were from Pakistan. There was a blockade. Because Jammu and Kashmir had signed a standstill agreement with Pakistan, Jammu and Kashmir handed over the control of its post offices, telegraph offices, and telephone lines also to Pakistan. And Pakistan started blocking even money orders and withdrawal of cash from the post offices. It stopped telecommunication and polling in order to pressurize Jammu and Kashmir and pressurize Maharaja to accede to Pakistan. When all this was happening, the state was getting harassed. Its essential supplies, its reserves, its stocks were depleting thin. And along with this started border raids, raids of looters, of dacoits who would target peaceful, unarmed citizens. This was in order to put the forces in disarray. And the final sledgehammer blow to state forces was through infiltration into those state forces. The Muslim soldiers of Maharaja were told to revolt against the Kafir Maharaja, were persuaded to rebel against their own army and slaughter their brother soldiers. And this is what happened. They started to attack their own fellow comrades. In Mirpur, Colonel Narayan Singh and the detachment was slaughtered in sleep. This is how the state forces were put in. disarray before the invasion started. We must equip ourselves with this information. We must know what happened. Waves of Lashkars were sent, dispatched to Kashmir. One was to travel
Some problem there.
Sorry,
We are not hearing.
can you hear me now?
Someone,
Can
just social, just
you
my
hear me now?
special request. Now his voice is clear. My request is just we have just running of time also, and I'm so sorry we wait for the long. So we want to hear you. So if we can sum up, three speakers are already waiting. So we just want to hear you, listen you, not for the 15
I'll
20
just
minutes.
sum
We
up.
can. So I only request just for the sum up, please, please,
I'll just sum up. Yes.
please.
So it was through deceit and it was through treachery and a blatant communal mobilization that Kashmir was invaded and targeted, and these Lashkars did not spare anyone, not even the nuns in the convent of Baramulla, not the women of villages, not from. It was one of the most brutal assaults, and Pakistan army was completely committed to it. Each Lashkar of 1,000 soldiers had a major and a captain and 10 JCOs attached to it. And they wore the similar as these Lashkar tribesmen. They were given clothes, food, ammunition, arms, even wireless sets for communication. They had guides, maps, and supply lines. They were mobilized through trucks and buses. This was a very elaborate operation, were completely complicit in Gilgit Baltistan down the state flag and raise the Pakistani flag. How could he do it? He was part of the state forces. He did it because he had instructions from his superior British officers. If he didn't have these instructions, he should have been tried for treason. He should have been tried for insubordination. But he wasn't tried for insubordination or treason. When he went back to England, he was knighted. He became a sir. This shows the British complicity. The J&K state forces were under Brigadier General Scott, a Scotsman. This man also resigned, and left 10 days before the invasion. He also knew that invasion was coming. Maharaja's chief of the army was a British Scot. This is how internal subversion was used. And ever since, in Kashmir, internal subversion is being used. The successive chief ministers, the successive politicians and governments, bureaucrats, media, academia, judiciary, even chambers of commerce, universities, all are being subverted. All are deployed for internal subversion. And can you imagine, Government of India funds this subversion? Government of India patronizes this subversion. It is flabbergasting. I can understand an Islamist Pakistan waging a jihad against India in Kashmir. What I can't understand is Government of India patronizing Hurriyat, Government of India patronizing these jihadis, offering them jobs, interest-free loans, offering them rights of passage, offering them privileges to win their hearts and minds. This is the undoing in Kashmir. It is only divine grace that Kashmir is still with India, because both India and Pakistan state are on the same side. I'm amazed what comes in their way. Because if they didn't let a book publish between 1965 and 87, and then buried that book even after publishing, you can understand what kind of mindset has seized the Indian state from within. Indian state and its organs are at war with Indian nation. And this hostility is bleeding the Indian nation white in Jammu and Kashmir. It is this hostility that hemorrhages us in Kashmir. And unless we correct from within, we will not be ready to fight the enemy at the border. Unless we purge the enemy within, which is subverting us from within, through acts like Roshni Act, through SRO 42, by giving compensations to the militants, by giving jobs to their families, by filing FIRs against the army officers. You know how Indian state is subverted from within. Indian state even brought a legislation like Article 370 and sustained it for 70 years. This was the epitome of subversion from within. And after undoing that subversion on 5th of August last year, through the back door, a domicile notification was brought in to bring back the most pernicious provisions of Article 370 at the height of lockdown. Who are we trying to please? Whose hearts and minds are we trying to win? Why do we do these self-deprecating and self-bleeding and self-hurting policies and decisions? I am at a loss. I hope some of you would be able to throw light on this. I think I've already exceeded my time. I'm sorry if I have. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and good luck to the speakers who follow me.
So nice of you, Sushil ji. We are sorry. I am sorry for just for some technical problem. You have to wait for the half an hour. So I am so obliged just to wait for us, and with our invitation, accepted invitation. We have Dr. R.P. Bhatt, Ram Prasad Bhatt from Germany. He living in Hamburg, Indologist and a scholar, written many books, and he teaches just India, that is called Bharat. So we'll also discuss next time why they are called the India, why not Bharat? India, that is a Bharat part of the constitution. So my request, Dr. Ram Bhatt, just focus on the part of the partition. He's a specialized just on the how, why the partition. Already previous speakers, Mr. Lord Rami Ranger and Robert Massey and Swamiji also just focus, as you also, Sushilji, focus on the partition and the pains and the turbulence, whatever. So we have another speaker, Rakesh Tiwari ji and Kuldeep Singh Shekhawat, and two more speakers we have. So just with the bullet points, with your inputs, I request Dr. Bhatt, just focus on the Black Day as well as the current situation is ongoing in Kashmir. Sorry, Jammu and Kashmir.
Rakesh ji, many thanks for giving me this opportunity with this esteemed panelists. We do listen to Sushil Pandit very much in my classes, and of course some other speakers as well. So I will be very short and try to put some light on or give some views that we do in classes or we read or whatever we get here. So first of all, of course, the partition, I totally agree. Whenever we read the literature, there are, of course, various kinds of write-ups. And what is amazing that is that the history of Jammu and Kashmir is thought to be only after 19th century, let me say it, 1846, something like. Before that, nobody talks much about that. Though Jammu and Kashmir and the culture of Jammu and Kashmir, the society of Jammu and Kashmir, or whatever. I mean, we can talk about clothing, we can talk about food, we can talk about fruits and nuts and so on and so forth. This has been culturally very much integral part of the Indian society. And from that point of view, of course, without going for a plebiscite within the Indian Union and the people, those who actually voted for a separate nation, they somehow, there are arguments, of course, they were not actually from the part that which is Pakistan today. This is, of course, a very different argument. But when we come to the Black Day. Why it is Black Day? Sushil Pandit rightly pointed out on the facts that the planning of this attack has been planned much earlier than even the independence of India, because we do have the facts. There are letters and there are many other write-ups also available especially in the libraries, British Library. We do have them here as well, and it's also in public domain. We do find them. We see that already on 12th of September there was a meeting in probably in Pakistan, where they talked about this matter probably and then gave the orders who is doing what. And one more thing is that there are three sides, and of course they were already blocking the access for food, clothing, and petrol, and so on and so forth to Jammu and Kashmir. So obviously there is this factor which needs to be talked in detail. Unfortunately, people do not go into detail in this matter. And one more striking point is here, we come across to some name, Mr. Brown from Gilgit. So when Jammu and Kashmir is assessed to India, on 1st of November, this General Brown is handing over or sacking the governor of that area and handing over this area to the Pakistani regime. So this is, of course, interesting, and this probably attests this argument that there is and there has been involvement of the British colonial power to divide Jammu and Kashmir, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, in this way. So, and why it's even more blacker is that we read about these aggressive people, and if you look at their style of attacking people, looting and things like all those things, then you strike the method is like ISIS, because they were taking away the women, they were selling the women, they were killing the young women, and they were, the elderly people were also killed. You talk about the religious places also, they were plundered and things. Of course, it's obviously a very, very black history on this part of this beautiful, land, piece of land of Anandavardhan of India. One more thing which we need to think about is also that, Jammu and Kashmir is assessed to India before, and the Article 370 coming into power much later. So this also has to be talked about. Rakesh, can you hear me?
Yeah. So something net problem, but voice is coming.
Yeah. So yes. So Article 370 is coming into existence much later than the accession of Jammu and Kashmir to India. So this area needs to be really researched very thoroughly, and then we need to look into the, when the Mrs. Chauhan was talking about whether people are really happy in Kashmir or not. I really doubt that argument, because I do have some friends, and many of them, they say, well, when we look at about this, I will just go into very shortly into, there are theories about this kind of, when you talk about the Kashmiriyat kind of thing. There is one scholar called Roger Smith, and he talks about elite-driven people building models. And I think this is a very good, theoretical framework for, people building model in Jammu and Kashmir, especially after post-independence India. Because who profited? It were only these elites, not the people on the ground. And this model is really fitting there. And this is my doubt, that the people on the ground probably are happier because they are getting access to the services. They can talk directly to the center, and they may be able to really come out of these miseries, and they are protected. That the most is important issue also. So yes, of course, the Kashmir, if you look in from the point of view of the Indologist, then we always talk about Avinav Gupta and Anandavardhana, Bhaskara, or Bhatta Kallana, or Kumara Jiva, these great writers, poets, and especially Chemendra, is 10th century philosopher. So, of course, without Kashmir, when we talk about Kalyana, when we talk about Anandavardhana, when we talk about Avinav Gupta, when we talk about Kashmir's apples, when we talk Pashmina, when we talk all, the nuts, then, of course, it is India. When we see it from the perspective of Europe, you say India. Of course, Kashmir term is there, but India, even in Latin terms, you use India. So I am convinced that whatever will happen in future, it is going to be better, because we need to be very practical. Because if you won't do this, then probably the problems would, remain like as they are, and there won't be any change. So, because we need to also think that the regimes of the world, they have become very powerful. You cannot say that, your enemy is not powerful. So from that point of view, I think it is a very interesting decision what has been taken, and it may even lead to a kind of solution. I really hope that there is a solution for the people, for the betterment of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and of course to bring the peace in this very beautiful part of the world. I think that's what I can share with you, given the time is not much there. So thanks for adding me here. Thanks.
So nice, Dr. Bhatt. Just you have elaborated and just inputs about the Jammu Kashmir and the new development as well as the history. And you have already mentioned. Now I request Mr. Rakesh Jetiwari from Canada, Toronto. He is the chief editor of Hindi Times Media Group, and also for working for so many radio stations as well as the T division, and already more than 25 years. He just running the just for the हिंदी के लिए इन्होंने अपना जीवन लगा दिया है, गोरखपुर से लेकर टोरंटो तक, टोरंटो से लेकर दिल्ली तक, और दिल्ली से लेकर संयुक्त राष्ट्र तक. तो हम उनसे अनुरोध करेंगे, राकेश तिवारी जी से, हिंदी में या अंग्रेजी में जिस भाषा में बात करना चाहें, उनका स्वागत है. और उनके धैर्य के लिए भी, हम लोग के सहयोग के लिए भी, और हमारे परस्पर अपने उद्गार के लिए हम उनका सम्मान करते हैं और चाहते हैं कुछ अपने विचारों से हम लोग को ऊर्जा प्रदान करें. अनम्यूट या
जी मेरे ख्याल है
हाँ ठीक है ठीक
हाँ जी अब अनम्यूटेड है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कुमार राकेश जी, आज इस महत्वपूर्ण दिवस पर, इस महत्वपूर्ण दिन पर मुझे अपने विचारों को
इसके लिए धन्यवाद के पात्र एक आलोक लाहट जी भी है जो स्पेन बैठे हुए हैं, वो भी
जी
सबसे बड़े धन्यवाद के पात्र वही हैं जी।
जी आलोक
उन्होंने
जी
ही इनिशिएट किया जी। हाँ जी, उन्होंने इनिशिएट किया तो ये चीजें हैं जी बन गई जी।
जी आलोक जी का भी बहुत धन्यवाद और समस्त जो
आप
वक्ता रहे
फ्रेम में
हैं।
नहीं आ रहे हैं, आप फ्रेम थोड़ा सा कैमरा ठीक कीजिए तिवारी जी। हाँ
अभी
या
ठीक है
आप थोड़ा,
जी।
हाँ
तो
आप थोड़ा सा
जी
पीछे जाइए, थोड़ा सा कट रहा है
पीछे
फ्रेम आपका जी जी।
चलिए अभी
बस
ठीक
थोड़ा,
है।
बस अब ठीक
बहुत बहुत
जी
धन्यवाद।
जी।
तो कुमार जी सबको धन्यवाद ज्ञापन के साथ में मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा, मैंने जितने भी वक्ता संभव हो सकते थे उनको सुना। तो बिल्कुल आपने ठीक कहा कि भाषा की अगर बात की जाए तो मैं हिंदी भाषा में ही अपने विचार व्यक्त करना चाहूंगा। ऐसा नहीं है कि कनाडा में रहने के साथ में अंग्रेजी में नहीं अपने विचार व्यक्त कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन मुझे उम्मीद है जो लोग सिर्फ अंग्रेजी समझ पाते हैं वो मुझसे उनसे मैं क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ।
यहाँ सारे लोग जितने हैं और जो सुन रहे हैं सभी हिंदी समझते हैं, उसकी चिंता
अरे
बिल्कुल
वाह,
ना करें आप।
तो मुझे बड़ी खुशी है इस बात की। मुझे मौका मिला इस बीच में और मैं एक बात और कहना चाहूंगा कि पिछले 70-72-73 सालों के मतलब भारत की स्वतंत्रता, गुलामी, ब्रिटिशर्स गुलामी की से स्वतंत्रता के बाद की अगर बात करें, निस्संदेह रूप में ये कहना चाहूंगा कि आज जो सत्ता में लोग बैठे हुए हैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी 6 सालों से, उनका एक धन्यवाद तो बनता ही है कि आज कश्मीर कम से कम फोर फ्रंट इशू पर आया है इस रूप में। आज इसके ऊपर जिस ढंग से डिबेट, डिस्कशन, बात हो रही है वो उतना पहले नहीं थी। ये यहाँ पर 25 सालों के बीच में मैंने भी महसूस किया इस बात को, और बहुत से लोग बेनकाब हो रहे हैं। जो हम लोग भारतीय अप्रवासी भारतीय हमें कहा जा सकता है, जो हम लोग भारत के बाहर रह रहे हैं, आज वो नजर आ रहा है कि किस तरह से फारूक अब्दुल्ला साहब की अगर बात की जाए, उमर अब्दुल्ला साहब की बात की जाए या फारूक अब्दुल्ला साहब की, उनका जो बयान आया सुनकर के एकदम हम लोग हतप्रभ रह गए कि उन्होंने चीन से मदद मांगी थी कश्मीर को, कश्मीर के इशू के ऊपर। मेरा ध्यान इस बीच में गया कि हम लोग जब कश्मीर की बात करते हैं, आज 22 अक्टूबर 1947 की बात करते हैं, गांधी के विचार कहीं नहीं मिलते कि गांधी का रोल क्या था उस वक्त में और गांधी जी ने क्या किया था। मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा सुशील पंडित जी का, और उसके साथ में ही रॉबर्ट, ये जो आपके लॉर्ड हैं, वो उनका नाम मैं भूल रहा हूँ, रामी रंजन जी शायद लंदन से, उन्होंने भी बहुत कुछ हाईलाइट किया। तो मैं 2-3 बातों के ऊपर लेके जाना चाहूंगा इसके पहले कि मैं महात्मा गांधी के विचार इस संदर्भ में क्या थे और जिसके कारण से लगता है कि सारा कि हम जो आज देख पा रहे हैं वो सच और झूठ से बहुत दूर, जिसे कहा जाए कुछ ऐसी जगह पर है कि जहां आपको चीजें क्लियर या साफ नहीं दिखाई देती और दिखाई दे नहीं सकती। मेरा सवाल उठता है, सुशील पंडित जी की बात को मैं उद्धृत करना चाहूंगा कि उन्होंने जब बात की कि भारतीय सेना ने जो किताब प्रकाशित की है जम्मू कश्मीर ऑपरेशंस के ऊपर, 1965 में किताब प्रकाशित हुई और 1987 तक में उसको दबा के रखा गया। अब प्रकाशित, अब चूंकि है भी सही तो सिर्फ इस कारण के लिए जनता से झूठ, ये सच जो है छुपाया जा रहा है कि क्या हुआ था उस दौरान में और किसका क्या रोल था। तो इस लिहाज से मैं कहना चाहूंगा जरूर कि ये जो लोग भी हम लोग बैठे हुए तथा कथित रूप से बुद्धिजीवी भी, सबको सत्ता पता नहीं कि कौन कौन सी किताबें उपलब्ध हैं क्या नहीं है, लेकिन सुशील पंडित जी का एक बार पुनः धन्यवाद इस बात को जानकारी में लाने के लिए, और उससे हमारी आंखें खुलती हैं ऑपरेशन गुलमर्ग के बारे में कि उस वक्त में क्या हुआ था। और मेरा एक सवाल ये बनता है कि अगर कश्मीर पर अटैक का आरंभन, इसकी बारे में योजना भारत और पाकिस्तान के विभाजन के पूर्व ही बन गई थी, तो क्या यह सत्य नहीं होगा कि ये 1947 का जो विभाजन हुआ था ये भी बहुत पहले से प्लान किया गया था ब्रिटिशर्स के द्वारा। और इस कैटेगरी में फिर सवाल पूरा उठता है, दो बातों पर मैं लेके चलना चाहूंगा कि वो तथा हमारा जो भारतीय राजनीतिक नेतृत्व था उस वक्त, जो लोग भी थे वो सभी के सभी एक महापाप के, एक महा अपराध के साझीदार हैं। इसलिए क्योंकि उसके बाद से उस वक्त में 1947 में जितने लोगों का कत्लेआम हुआ, जितने लोग बेघर बार हुए, कश्मीर की जो लड़ाई 1947 से लेकर के 1948 से लेकर 47 से लेकर के और अब तक चली आ रही है, इसमें जो हजारों लाखों नौजवान मारे गए, चाहे कश्मीर से मारे गए, कश्मीर के नौजवान वहां के लोग मारे गए, चाहे भारत से जो सेना के जवान वहां पर मारे गए, और ये सारा कुछ ये जो पूरा पंडोरा बॉक्स है, इसका जिम्मेदार कौन है? और हम आज भी सवाल उठाने से डर रहे हैं। मुझे हैरत होती है कि जब महात्मा गांधी को मैं अटैक नहीं करना चाहता आज के दिन, लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से चूंकि इतिहास की बात है, तो हम जब राम पर सवाल उठा सकते हैं, तो फिर महात्मा गांधी राम तो बिल्कुल नहीं थे। तो सवाल उठता है कि एक ऐसे व्यक्ति को हम राष्ट्रपिता कहते हैं, या तो भारत कभी राष्ट्र के रूप में एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता था, तो हम उन्हें राष्ट्रपिता मानते हैं। ये और हम लोगों ने पिछले 70 साल से, मैं भी पढ़ा राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी राष्ट्रपिता, और ऐसा कैसा पिता हो सकता है जो अपनी औलादों का विभाजन कर दे, और उसके बीच और हो भी नहीं सकते वो, अगर या तो फिर भारत राष्ट्र के रूप में कभी एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता था, हिंदुस्तान राष्ट्र के रूप में कभी एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता था। मैं माफी के साथ कहना चाहूंगा कि ये काम तो मुगलों तक ने नहीं किया, जब उनके पास में ताकत थी, उन्होंने नहीं किया इस बात को। लेकिन हमारे जो राष्ट्रवादी नेताजी के फोटो लगा करके चारों ओर चल रहे हैं, उन्होंने ये काम कर दिया। आई होप मुझे सुन पा रहे हैं आप लोग। हेलो, सुन पा रहे हैं आप मुझे?
हाँ राकेश जी, सुन पा रहे हैं
जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
हाँ सुन पा रहे
जी, बहुत धन्यवाद। तो सवाल ये उठाना पड़ेगा, और कब उठाया जाएगा? मैं लॉर्ड रामरंजन जी की बात से सहमत हूं कि मैं भारत की आजादी के 20 साल बाद पैदा हुआ हूं, और मेरा सवाल, और यहाँ पर हम जो टोरंटो में रह रहे हैं, यहाँ पर पाकिस्तानी मूल के नौजवान लोग यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं, और सब सवाल उठाते हैं किया क्यों? हमसे तो नहीं पूछा गया। तो चंद कठमुल्लों और उसके आदमी, आपने हिंदुस्तान की आर्मी की ताकत जो कितनी बड़ी थी, अंग्रेजों ने जानबूझ करके वो प्लान करके वो सारा कुछ किया, और आप उनके साथ गलबैया कर रहे थे, उनकी महिलाओं के साथ में अफेयर बना रहे थे। मैं पर्टिकुलर किसी व्यक्ति के संदर्भ में या किसी नेता के संदर्भ में नहीं नाम लेना चाहूंगा, न जाना चाहूंगा, लेकिन इतिहास से के सारे गड़े पन्नों मुर्दों को उखाड़ना जरूरी है और मीमांसा करना जरूरी है। नहीं तो जैसा सुशील पंडित जी ने कहा कि दोस हु टेंड टू फॉरगेट द हिस्ट्री कॉज टू रिपीट देम। और आज के हमें जाना पड़ेगा, और मैं कहता हूं, मेरा ये कहना है कि भारत में होना ये चाहिए, हमें आज की तारीख में मेरा ये मानना है कि कश्मीर से पर जितना हम बोलते जाएंगे कुछ नहीं, क्योंकि कश्मीर तो सिर्फ एक प्रत्यशाखा है, वो शाखा नहीं, प्रत्याशाखा है। मूल में पाकिस्तान छुपा हुआ है। जब तक पाकिस्तान रहेगा, ये मान के चलिए कि भारत कभी भी सुरक्षित नहीं बैठ सकता, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान का निर्माण हुआ है भारत को हमेशा तकलीफ देने के लिए, उसका निर्माण ही इसी वजह से किया गया। मेरा सवाल उठता है कि चीन ने आज तक ताइवान को मान्यता नहीं दी। किसी पूरे विश्व के अंदर में चंद राष्ट्रों को छोड़ दिया जाए तो किसी राष्ट्र की औकात नहीं है कि ताइवान से निरपेक्ष रूप से संबंध बनाए, उसके अंदर चाइना की भ्रुकुटी नहीं अगर टेढ़ी हो जाती है। लेकिन चीन ने कभी 1949 में आजाद हुआ, लेकिन चीन ने नहीं किया। जर्मनी के 2 टुकड़े हो गए थे, जर्मनी ने नहीं किया। कुछ एक राष्ट्र बचे हुए हैं जिसमें उत्तर कोरिया, दक्षिण कोरिया को छोड़ दिया जाए, जर्मनी ने अपने आप में यूनाइट हुआ। पाकिस्तान, मेरा यह मानना है कि पाकिस्तान में भी आज जो लोग रह रहे हैं, नौजवान रह रहे हैं, वो तड़प रहे हैं और कोस रहे होंगे। और मैं गारंटी से कहता हूं कि उस वक्त में भारत के विभाजन के जो लोग भी जिम्मेदार थे, कभी स्वर्ग नहीं जा सकते। नथियों की एकमात्र जगह होगी, क्योंकि मिलियंस ऑफ लोगों, निर्दोष लोगों का वध करा है। युद्ध के मैं खिलाफ नहीं हूं, युद्ध अगर होता है तो होना चाहिए, लेकिन ये षड्यंत्र था, और षड्यंत्र के इसके जिम्मेदार होते हैं। अगर राजा दोषी होता है, जो जिम्मेदार लोग होते हैं दोषी होते हैं, अगर उनके राज्य के अंदर में और उनके अधिकार में, उनके शासन के दौरान में, या जब उनके पास में सत्ता होती है उस दौरान में अगर कुछ इस तरह अत्याचार और अनाचार होता है, और ये हुआ है। महात्मा गांधी की हत्या दुखद थी, मैं वहां पर नहीं लेके जाना चाहता, लेकिन मैं कश्मीर के ऊपर उनके दुखद थी, बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए था। अगर वो गांधी जिंदा होते, और सवाल मुझे समझ में नहीं आता कि उनसे सवाल ये बात की क्यों नहीं की कि ये जिम्मेदारी आपकी थी। आपने छोटी छोटी बातों के ऊपर, चौरी चौरा जैसे मुद्दे के ऊपर आप अनशन पर बैठ जाते हैं। सहयोग 1930 में भारत को आजादी मिल जानी चाहिए थी, लेकिन आपने वहां कर दिया। लेकिन हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान के विभाजन के मुद्दे पर, जिसकी ये बाय प्रोडक्ट है कश्मीर, आज जो कश्मीर का इशू जिसके ऊपर 22 अक्टूबर की बात हम कर रहे हैं, वो बाय प्रोडक्ट बताया। मूल मुद्दा पाकिस्तान से शुरू होता है। जब तक पाकिस्तान नाम का एक राष्ट्र रहेगा, और भारत के, मैं माफी के साथ कहना चाहूंगा, राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी नहीं हो सकते। हाँ, पाकिस्तान के कायदे आजम जिन्ना हो सकते हैं, और पाकिस्तान के कायदे आजम महात्मा गांधी भी हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि उन्होंने पूरा सहयोग किया। लेकिन आते हैं आज के ब्लैक डे पर। मैं आपके सामने बैठा हूं, मैंने बाकायदा ब्लैक डे मनाया, और उस ब्लैक डे के ऊपर सिंबॉलिक रूप में समझ लीजिए ये खून की वो धारी भी है कि वो जो हजारों लाखों नौजवान मारे गए हैं और मारे जा रहे हैं, रोज मारे जा रहे हैं, जिनका कोई दोष नहीं है। मैं गांधी की बात पर मैं सरप्राइज था। उन्होंने विजिट किया है पाकिस्तान, उन्होंने कश्मीर को विजिट किया है, उसके बाद में उनके विचार आए हैं, और वो ऐसी बातें कर रहे थे कि जैसे लग रहा है कि वो या तो विक्षिप्त हो गए थे। वो कह रहे, वो बार बार वो कह रहे हैं शांति से होना चाहिए। पाकिस्तान का अटैक हो रहा 22 अक्टूबर के ऊपर, उनके बस में अगर गांधी जी की बात मानी जाती तो उस वक्त में मेरी समझ में जो आया है कि उस हिसाब से कश्मीर को अलग हो जाना चाहिए था, और कश्मीर ही नहीं पूरा भारत ही खंड कर दीजिए। फिर क्या, फिर लेकिन ये भी कहते हैं कि मैं भारत के डिवीजन के खिलाफ में था। तो इस विषय के ऊपर आज के दिन हम लोग जो बातचीत कर रहे हैं, जो अपने विचार व्यक्त कर रहे हैं, हमें यही खत्म नहीं कर देना है। मेरी तमाम जो लोग जो भारत के बाहर बैठे हुए हैं, एनआरआईज हैं, मुझे ये लगता है कि हम लोगों को एक बार पुनः अपना रोल अदा करना पड़ेगा। क्योंकि हम यहाँ से पूरे विश्व की स्थिति और भारत की स्थिति बेहतर ढंग से देख पाते हैं, क्योंकि साफ देखने के लिए थोड़ा दूरी जरूरी है। एकदम आप अगर आईने में सर रखेंगे, अगर उसके ऊपर रखेंगे सर, तो आप देख नहीं पाएंगे। तो थोड़ा सा डिस्टेंस, जैसे कुमार राकेश जी ने मुझे कहा कि थोड़ा सा डिस्टेंस यहाँ पर बना के रखने का, तो वैसा ही मैं कर रहा हूँ। ये एक बहुत स्तुत्य प्रयास है।
मैंने फ्रेम के लिए बोला था।
नहीं, मैं बिल्कुल, मैं आपकी बात समझ रहा हूँ, लेकिन ये भी जरूरी है। अगर मैं बहुत नजदीक हो जाऊंगा तो संभवतः दिखने में अड़चन होगी, पूरी पिक्चर नहीं दिखेगी। तो हम जो अप्रवासी भारतीय रह रहे हैं, आपने उस माध्यम से संकेत किया, और एक अच्छी बात है। मैं सिंबल लेना चाहता हूँ कि हम जो अप्रवासी भारतीय रह रहे हैं, हमारे जिम्मे है ये, नहीं तो, क्योंकि मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा, मुझे रामधारी दिनकर जी की वो पंक्तियां याद आ रही हैं, और वो सर्वकालिक हैं। जब उन्होंने कहा था कि इतिहास न तुमको माफ करेगा, याद रहे, पीढ़ियां तुम्हारी करनी पर पछताएंगी, पूरब की लाली में कालिक पुत जाएगी, सदियों में फिर क्या ऐसी घड़ियां आएंगी। लेकिन ये समय है जो बीत गया है, उससे सबक लेते हुए इतिहास की किताबों पर मैं कहना चाहूंगा,
जो तटस्थ है समय लिखेगा उसका भी इतिहास।
जी बिल्कुल। तो तटस्थ होने का समय नहीं है, तटस्थ नहीं हुआ, और युद्ध से डरा नहीं जा सकता। हमें सवाल उठाना पड़ेगा कि महात्मा गांधी को राष्ट्रपिता किस आधार पर आप करेंगे। या तो भारत राष्ट्र था ही नहीं, मान लीजिए आप किसके लिए लड़ रहे थे फिर, तो पूरी आजादी,
वो लंबी बहस का, तिवारी जी, वो लंबी बहस का विषय है, लेकिन आज जो आपने
मैंने बुनियादी प्रश्न उठाए हैं, और आखिरी में मैं अपनी बात ये कहना चाहूंगा कि इसके अंदर की जो सुशील पंडित जी ने कहा, क्योंकि वो इस विषय के ज्ञाता हैं, वो कश्मीरी पंडित हैं, वो यहाँ पर आए हुए हैं, मैं उनसे मिला भी हूँ, बातचीत भी उनसे हुई है, उन्होंने ज्यादा पुस्तकें और चीजें पढ़ी हैं। लेकिन जैसे कहा जाए कि अगर आप सरफेस के ऊपर उठा करके देखें, मैं महात्मा गांधी जी की जो बायोग्राफी है, जो mg.r पर मैं जाकर गया, और वहां पर पढ़ करके मैं सरप्राइज था कि ये कैसे उन्होंने मान लिया, किस ढंग से उन्होंने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया। वो कह रहे हैं कि मिस्टेक्स आर मेड on both sides. Of this I have no doubt. Therefore, the two dominions should come together with God as witness and find a settlement.
ब्लेंडर्स ऑफ गांधी पर अलग से डिस्कशन रखेंगे हम लोग। ब्लेंडर्स ऑफ गांधी,
नहीं, मैं गांधी जी की बात कर रहा हूँ। मैं गांधी जी की बात 22 अक्टूबर 1947 के बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ। ये उनके विचार थे। ये उन्होंने कहा था, द मैटर इज नाउ बिफोर द यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, इट कैन नॉट बी विथड्रॉन फ्रॉम देयर, एंड बट इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान शुड टुगेदर। आप एक भेड़ी और भेड़ से कह रहे हैं कि साथ में बैठी, आपने आर्मी मुल्लों के हाथों में पकड़ा दी है, और आज भी वही हो रहा है। पाकिस्तान के नौजवान हमारे संपर्क में यहाँ पर आते हैं, जो पाकिस्तान में बैठे हुए हैं, और कुमार राकेश जी जानते हैं, हजारों की तादाद में, लाखों की तादाद में नौजवान कहते हैं कि क्या किया गया।
लम्हों ने खता की, सदियों ने सजा पाई। तभी तो हम लोग बैठे हैं आज ब्लैक डे की बात जो कर रहे हैं कि 27 के पहले। और देखिए, एक समर्पित जम्मू कश्मीरी महिला बैठी हैं और समाज के लिए समर्पित हैं, तो शुरू से लेकर अंत तक तो ये इनसे इनका जज्बा देखा जा सकता है, समझा जा
जी
सकता
बिल्कुल
है।
बिल्कुल।
और आप
मैं इतना ही
हजारों मील दूर बैठे कनाडा में हैं, आलोक जी स्पेन में हैं, और फिर भी राष्ट्र की चिंता, इससे बड़ा राष्ट्रवादी कौन हो सकता है?
जी जी बिल्कुल
हम
है,
लोगों से
लेकिन मैं ये जरूर चाहूंगा कि मेरा फिर से पुनः निवेदन है, जो लोग भी आज इस मंच से जुड़े हुए हैं, जो लोग भी हमें सुन पा रहे हैं, एक
जी
कि हमें अपनी भाषा को प्रधानता देनी होगी। फिर अगेन मैं बात कहना चाहूंगा कि हमें
बिल्कुल सही,
अपनी
बिल्कुल
राष्ट्रभाषा को
बिल्कुल।
प्रधानता देनी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि वही हमें सूत्र के रूप में बांधेगी। और हिंदी टाइम्स इस मामले में अपना प्रयास कर रहा, कुमार राकेश जी इसके बहुत मजबूत स्तंभ है। हमें आज के दिन को, आज अगले
सब
साल
लोग आपके
22
स्तंभ
अक्टूबर
होंगे,
आए,
उसकी चिंता ना करें। जी
आज अगला जो 22 अक्टूबर आए, मेरा निवेदन ये होगा, तब तक हम अगर बात, मुझे उम्मीद है कि तब भी हमारी बात होगी, जरूर होगी, और उस वक्त में हम कम से कम ये कह पाएंगे कि 22 अक्टूबर को, और जो आपने स्तुति प्रयास किया है कुमार राकेश जी आज के दिन पर, मैं आपका हार्दिक धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं और आपको साधुवाद देना चाहता हूं कि अगले वर्ष में हम ये कहें कि हाँ, हम कुछ कदम इस दिशा में आगे चले, और हमें चलना होगा। नहीं तो हम कर्ज होंगे, हमें बार बार इस यातना से गुजरना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये नर्क कई और नहीं, हमारे मानस का नर्क है कि हम इस जीवन में हैं और हम कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे। कुछ करते हुए मर जाना कोई
बिल्कुल
बड़ी बात नहीं है,
बिल्कुल भाई,
क्योंकि भगवान
बिल्कुल
कृष्ण ने अर्जुन से ये नहीं कहा था, उन्होंने कहा था मरो, कोई बात नहीं, युद्ध में मर सकते हो, मैं तुम्हें अमरता का वरदान नहीं दे रहा हूं, दिया हुआ है, लेकिन कम से कम तुम्हें इतना तो पता है कि तुम लड़े हो सत्य के साथ में। तो यही आज का समय है। यहाँ पर 24 अक्टूबर के को यहाँ पर जो कश्मीरी एसोसिएशन है और उसके नेतृत्व में जितने भारतीय हम लोग हैं, हम लोग पाकिस्तानी कॉन्सुलेट के ऊपर जाकर के वहाँ प्रदर्शन भी करने जा रहे हैं। हमारे बहुत अच्छे मित्र हैं पंडित विद्याभूषण धर, उनको भी होना चाहिए था, लेकिन ये नेट के कारण शायद कोई दिक्कत हो गई होगी,
टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम आई है कुछ। जी जी
जी जी। मैं सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहूंगा कि मैं सुशील कुमार पंडित जी आए, उन्होंने बोला, और लॉर्ड रामी रंजन ने भी बोला, और वो उन दोनों की बातों से मैं सहमत हूँ। हमें एक बार पुनः दो चीजें मैं साथ कह करके अपनी बात समाप्त करना चाहूंगा। एक, भारत में कि हमें ये जो भारत का विभाजन हुआ है उसे पूरी तौर पर गैर कानूनी मानना होगा, कहना होगा कि ये गैर कानूनी था, हमें एक्सेप्ट नहीं करना, पहली बात। आइए जो भी होना होगा देखा जाएगा। हम एक दूसरे नंबर पर भारत में पुनः संविधान सभा का गठन किया जाए। जिन लोगों ने भी किया था वो ब्रिटिशर्स के प्रयास में थे, तो हमें पुनः लिखना पड़ेगा, खोद के लिखना पड़ेगा, तो लिखना पड़ेगा। हम ये नहीं कह सकते हो गया, जो हो गया, वहां नहीं वापस जा सकते, लेकिन अगर हमें आगे बढ़ना है तो हमें ये जो कांटे हमारे गड़े हुए हैं, ये जो कांटे गड़े हुए हैं, इनको हमें निकाल के बाहर करना पड़ेगा, और दर्द होगा, तकलीफ होगी, लेकिन शायद यहीं से पूरी तौर पर बेहतर होने की शुरुआत होगी। जब तक हम मर्ज को समझेंगे नहीं, मर्ज का इलाज नहीं ढूंढ पाएंगे। मर्ज है भारत का विभाजन, कश्मीर बाय प्रोडक्ट है, भारत में आतंकवादी हमले बाय प्रोडक्ट है, जो कुछ भी हो रहा है ये सब उसके बाय प्रोडक्ट है। तो हमें मूल जड़ के ऊपर निशाना साधना होगा। इसी के साथ मैं अपनी वार्ता को विराम देता हूं। मुझे उम्मीद है कि मैं अपनी बातचीत जी कहीं ज्यादा समय नहीं लिया।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, सबका धन्यवाद जितने लोग आए। लॉर्ड रेमी रेंजर, अपने रॉबर्ट मसीह फ्रॉम स्पेन, स्वामी विज्ञानानंद, सुशील पंडित जी, राकेश तिवारी जी, डॉक्टर आरपी भट्ट, रुचि चौहान खान जी, और हमारे ललित कुमार झा जी किसी कारणों से नहीं आ पाए, टी.आर. कक्कर जी हमारे तकनीकी कारणों से ज्वाइन नहीं कर पाए, विद्याभूषण धर जी भी, और आलोक लाहड़ जी का भी शुक्रगुजार हैं। हम एक दूसरे के शुक्रगुजार हैं, उन्होंने हम एक दूसरे को ऊर्जान्वित किया, और हम एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मुद्दों को हमने एक नया आयाम देने की कोशिश की। और जैसा कि राकेश तिवारी जी ने कहा है कि अगले 22 अक्टूबर को भी हम कुछ नए आयाम के साथ और नए प्रस्ताव के साथ हम आएंगे, तो उसकी भी हम लोग की कोशिश जारी रहेगी। और डॉक्टर भट्ट जी, रुचि चौहान खान जी और सब लोग जो अंत तक बने रहे, हमारे कुलदीप सिंह शेखावत जी को भी बात बतानी थी। एंड आई एम सो obliged to for Robert Massey for the great input, and whatever input he has given, very thought provoking. And Lord Rami Ranger, as well as Swami Vigyananand ji and Sushil Pandit ji, we all are just thankful to all of us. We all are one, who have to be one in all manners, just for the sake of humanity, for the sake of the country, for the sake of our Jammu and Kashmir. Ruchi, I am corrected, not Kashmir, Jammu and
Yes.
Kashmir.
Thank
That
you.
that should be that is also a resolution of the day. We should not only say the Kashmir. So Jammu and
Yes.
Kashmir is a good terminology, and we'll just carry forward this discussion in coming days. And we're all thankful to you, and just to condemn the 22nd Black Day, and we can't say the word of celebration, but we condemn with all the dignitaries of the world from the different countries. We are so thankful to, and this show is just must go on. So I'll not say we are going to stop the show. The show will carry on. And thanks to all, and thanks and obliged from our India World Foundation, from the NIX, from MATV, and from the Association of Indian Businessmen in Spain, all the organizers, supporters, and all well wishers. So nice of you. थैंक यू और हम लोग फिर मिलेंगे नमस्कार धन्यवाद